Hi everyone. Today I'll be going over the process of adding multiplayer to my not fun at all math web game. The game is just a basic number crunching game with extremely strict time limits. Firstly, I would like to show you what single player looks like. Now that you know how single player looks like, I'm basically going to extend single player so that it becomes multiplayer. My plan here is to make it so that you can send enemies to other players, just like in many stacker games. I would like to show you how I coded multiplayer in my web game, but first I need to clear some things out. First of all, I am not a real mathematician, and this game is not meant to be a substitute for a legitimate math tutor. Secondly, I know that my code quality is extremely bad. Thirdly, while there is accompanying video in the background, it may not exactly match what I'm talking due to my poor decision making of not properly keeping tracks of things, as such forcing me to use my git commit messages as a reference for what I'm talking about. And lastly, I did not test this thoroughly, and as of the time of filming this update hasn't been released to the official server of the game yet. So just think of this as a sneak peek video of multiplayer. I may post updates in the descriptions or comments. The fact that I have no friends might also help on why this hasn't been released at the time of filming yet, since I have to do everything by myself. This took around 2 weeks in total to implement, but first, let me give you a quick rundown of how this project came to be, since this project isn't made exclusively for this video. Back in September of 2020, one of my friends at school invited me to join a software competition that is backed by a government agency in my country. The government agency held this software competition annually. One of the reasons they held this is to encourage students, that is, people who are in school or university, to be able to build software. Additionally, they took it a step further by offering funding to the proposals that got accepted, which encouraged more students and also gave out prizes to the winners. I joined, so my team made a proposal and it got accepted. So I spent all day working on it. It looked like this. This software contest has 3 rounds: the proposal phase, the development phase, and the finals phase. By passing the proposal phase, i.e., getting your proposal accepted, you will get 3,000 baht of funding, which is around $90 as of filming this. But the most recent round only gave 2,000 baht. And after that, you have around 2 to 3 months to actually build the software and write a full report on it. When the results for the development round is announced, you may get into the final round or you may get extra funding of 7,000 baht or both or none. While my team did not get into the final round, my team did receive the additional funding. Getting additional funding or making the finals also comes with a certificate. Since I was still in school when I joined the competition, I could use that certificate to add to my university and professional applications, kind of like an extracurricular activity. Even though the competition was over, I still decided to continue work on the game because I was delusional and believed that it would be something sellable commercially. But in January of 2023, I've decided to redesign the whole game after 2 years of development while keeping the game names the same. Originally, the game was to form math equations with tiles that you can use as resources, but that led to problems to both the player and me, such as when you don't have the number you need to form the correct equation. Think of it like forming words in Scrabble when you don't have the letter you want, which, when you get into the flow of playing this, it could break it. I've redesigned the game to be much more streamlined and easier to get in and harder to leave a flow. Because it is now basically a normal number cruncher game, there will be no or infinite resources depending on how you look at it, since you are free to type in anything you want now. I released a test version of the new gameplay in March 2023, but it was lacking multiplayer, which the old version of the game had, so this is a video of me adding multiplayer to my game. Day 1, March 25th, 2023. On the first day of development of multiplayer, I actually didn't do anything related to multiplayer at all. Even though I was on the multiplayer branch, all I did was make bug fixes to existing parts of the game. Lol. On day 2, I've added a basic multiplayer lobby screen, where players can wait for the next game if they're not currently playing. However, this screen is extremely basic as it doesn't have any features or things to do while you wait. Aside from that, I also wrote some server-side code for joining and leaving the multiplayer room. I use the word the because I'm too lazy to implement user-created rooms at the moment, implying that right now, the game only has one multiplayer room. On day 3, I got multiplayer to kind of work. By that I mean I got its basic functionality working, such as starting together and other functionalities. I also made it so that if a game is about to start, it shows the time until when it start, which means I haven't done anything much at all. Because my app was one big app, I've decided to split the app into its front end and back end because I just realized that was one of the things I did wrong, not separating front end and back end. Luckily, due to my design, it took less than 2 hours. Aside from that, I think I put the most work into day 4 as I wrote a lot of server-side code, including implementing features so that the multiplayer room now has the same enemies, so there will be no unfair advantages from the random number generator method. And also, I've also added an indicator on how many enemies are about to be sent to you, which makes it more clear, right? I didn't do much on day 5, but I did start work on the front end side of things, such as actually making it so you can see how your opponents are doing. I didn't do actual work on day 6, just like day 5, but I did make it so you can reposition and scale the opponent game instances. This is useful for myself when I debug, as I can go trial and error, which is a really inefficient debugging process. I know. I did nothing according to my git commits. I used my trial and error debugging method that I made on day 6 to find the perfect positioning and scale of the opponent game instances. And that's pretty much it. I just made some finishing touches, nothing actually related to the multiplayer gameplay at all. Now, multiplayer is nearly finished. Note that I got inspiration on the sending enemies concept from staggered games I've played in the past. And here's me playing multiplayer with myself, since once again I have no friends. Once again, at the time of filming, multiplayer isn't released yet, and this game is not meant to be a substitute for a legitimate math tutor. However, I will give updates in the descriptions and comments. The source code for this game is open source, and the link to it is in the description along with the game's social media accounts. If you have any improvements about the game or code quality, feel free to send them to me. I know that the game is also badly designed, and the speed or frequency of the enemies might be unsuitable for some people. That's why I need you to tell me what's your preferred enemy speeds so I can make adjustments to the standard mode's enemy speed. That's all for this video. Have a nice day, goodbye, and maybe see you in the game, but I doubt that will happen.